Have you ever sat down to enjoy a plate of fresh seafood on a warm summer evening, believing it was the ultimate healthy indulgence? For many Americans, raw seafood feels pure, natural, even elegant. But after the age of 50, it can sometimes carry a hidden danger, far more serious than most people realize. Right now, health officials across the United States are warning about a surge of infections caused by Vibrio vulnificus, a deadly bacteria thriving in coastal waters this season. The CDC reports that nearly 1 in 5 people who become infected die within just 48 hours, and seniors with diabetes, liver conditions, or weaker immunity face an even higher risk. That means what once seemed like a harmless summer treat could today quietly threaten your health and even your life. Welcome back to Seniors Over 50, the channel where we share science-backed ways to eat well, live well, and age strong. In today's video, we'll uncover which raw seafoods are most concerning right now, and why those over 50 should be especially cautious. Stay tuned, because the very first example might be something you've enjoyed many times before, without ever realizing the danger hiding inside. Number 4, raw fish. Raw fish is one of the most widely consumed forms of seafood worldwide, from Japanese sashimi and sushi to Latin American ceviche. Many people perceive it as light, fresh, and even healthier than fried or heavily processed foods. However, eating raw or undercooked fish comes with serious risks that are often overlooked, especially for adults over 50. Unlike cooked fish, raw fish may harbor a variety of pathogens, including Vibrio species, Salmonella, Listeria, monocytogenes, and parasites such as Anisakis. These microorganisms can cause foodborne illness ranging from mild gastroenteritis to severe bloodstream infections. According to the CDC, Vibrio vulnificus is one of the most common bacteria linked to raw fish consumption in the U.S., causing an estimated 45,000 illnesses each year. While many cases are self-limiting, involving diarrhea and abdominal cramps, infections in vulnerable populations can become severe. Vibrio vulnificus, though less frequently found in raw fish compared to oysters, can still be present and is far more dangerous. Approximately 1 in 5 patients die within 48 hours once bloodstream infection develops. A study in the International Journal of Food Microbiology 2020 reported that raw fish samples from U.S. markets carried Vibrio contamination rates ranging from 5% to 10%, depending on season and source. For seniors over 50, the risks are magnified. The National Institute on Aging highlights that immune defenses weaken with age, making older adults less able to fight off bacterial and parasitic infections. Chronic conditions common in this age group, such as diabetes, liver disease, and cardiovascular problems, further increase vulnerability. A clinical review found that individuals with liver disease are up to 80 times more likely to experience severe outcomes from Vibrio vulnificus infections. Additionally, Listeria monocytogenes, another pathogen often associated with raw fish, disproportionately affects older adults and can lead to sepsis or meningitis, with a fatality rate of 15–30% in seniors. Nutritionally, raw fish is an excellent source of omega-3 fatty acids, protein, and essential minerals which contribute to heart and brain health. Yet these benefits are only safely realized when the fish is fully cooked. Freezing fish at very low temperatures for DEGF/20 DEDC for at least 7 days can kill parasites like Anisakis, but it does not reliably eliminate Vibrio or Listeria. The FDA therefore recommends cooking fish to an internal temperature of 145 DEGF/63 DC to ensure safety. For adults over 50, avoiding raw fish is a crucial preventive measure. While sushi or ceviche may seem like harmless indulgences, they carry risks that can quickly escalate into life-threatening conditions. Opting for cooked fish provides the same nutritional value without exposing seniors to potentially fatal infection. Number 3, raw shrimp. Raw shrimp is another seafood that many Americans enjoy, whether as sashimi, shrimp cocktail, or lightly marinated ceviche. Its tender texture and subtle sweetness make it popular in both Asian and Western cuisines. However, eating shrimp uncooked carries significant health risks that are often underestimated. Unlike oysters or scallops, shrimp are not filter feeders, but they can still harbor dangerous bacteria and viruses from their aquatic environment, especially when farmed or harvested in warm coastal waters. One of the greatest concerns is contamination with Vibrio species, including Vibrio vulnificus and Vibrio parahemolyticus, which thrive in temperatures above 68 DGC degrees. According to the CDC, Vibrio bacteria are responsible for about 80,000 illnesses and 100 deaths each year in the United States. While most cases are linked to raw oysters, studies have shown that shrimp can also carry these pathogens. A 2020 analysis in Foodborne Pathogens and Disease found that 11% of shrimp samples from retail markets in the U.S. tested positive for Vibrio species, underscoring the risk of eating them raw or undercooked. Infections can cause acute gastrointestinal illness, characterized by diarrhea, abdominal cramps, nausea, and fever. In severe cases, particularly when Vibrio vulnificus is involved, infections can progress to septicemia and necrotizing fasciitis, conditions that can be fatal without rapid treatment. For seniors over 50, the danger is significantly amplified. With age, the immune system becomes less effective, and many older adults have chronic conditions such as diabetes, liver disease, or cardiovascular problems. Research published in Clinical Infectious Diseases found that individuals with chronic liver disease were up to 80 times more likely to develop severe illness from Vibrio vulnificus. Similarly, those with diabetes or weakened immunity face much higher risks of hospitalization and death. In fact, case fatality rates in vulnerable populations can exceed 50% once bloodstream infection develops. Although shrimp provides valuable nutrients including lean protein, selenium, iodine, and omega-3 fatty acids, these benefits can only be safely enjoyed when the shrimp is fully cooked. The FDA recommends cooking shrimp until the flesh is opaque and reaches an internal temperature of 145 degrees C, 63 degrees centigrade. Citrus-based marinades used in ceviche do not kill Vibrio bacteria and should not be considered a substitute for cooking. For adults over 50, avoiding raw shrimp is an essential step in protecting health. While it may seem like a harmless indulgence, consuming it uncooked could expose the body to dangerous bacteria with life-threatening consequences. Choosing thoroughly cooked shrimp ensures both safety and nutrition, a much wiser choice for long-term well-being. Number 2. Raw scallops. Raw scallops are often considered a delicacy, enjoyed in sushi bars and fine dining restaurants for their soft texture and sweet flavor. However, consuming them uncooked carries significant health risks, particularly related to bacterial contamination. Like oysters and clams, scallops are filter-feeding bivalves. This means they draw in large volumes of seawater and, in the process, can accumulate pathogens, including Vibrio vulnificus. Although infections linked to scallops are reported less frequently than those from oysters, the biological mechanism is the same, and the potential severity of illness should not be underestimated. According to the CDC, Vibrio vulnificus causes approximately 150-200 infections annually in the U.S., with a case fatality rate of around 20% overall. While oysters account for the majority of cases, scallops harvested from the same coastal waters can carry identical risks. A 2021 study in the Journal of Food Protection found that Vibrio species were present in 12 to 15% of scallop samples tested from Gulf Coast waters, demonstrating that the threat is real, even if less publicized. The health consequences of eating contaminated raw scallops can be severe. In healthy adults, infection may cause acute gastroenteritis, with symptoms such as vomiting, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. But in vulnerable populations, especially seniors over 50, the outcomes can be life-threatening. Age changes in the immune system, lower gastric acid levels, and chronic health conditions make older adults significantly more susceptible to invasive Vibrio infection. Research from Clinical Microbiology Reviews notes that people with chronic liver disease are 80 times more likely to develop septicemia from Vibrio vulnificus exposure than healthy individuals. Seniors with diabetes or compromised immunity face similarly elevated risks. While scallops do offer nutritional benefits, rich in lean protein, vitamin B12, magnesium, and omega-3 fatty acids, these advantages only apply when they are thoroughly cooked. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, emphasizes that scallops should reach an internal temperature of at least 145 DFC, to ensure pathogens are destroyed. Unfortunately, when served raw in dishes like sashimi or ceviche, no amount of citrus or seasoning eliminates bacterial contamination. In a little ink bet to the citrus. For adults over 50, the message is clear. Although raw scallops may seem like a refined and harmless indulgence, they can pose a serious and even deadly threat. Choosing cooked scallops provides all the nutritional benefits without exposing the body to Vibrio vulnificus or other dangerous bacteria, a vital precaution for protecting long-term health. Number 1. Raw oysters. Among all raw seafoods consumed in the United States, raw oysters stand out as the most dangerous when it comes to Vibrio vulnificus infection. Oysters are filter feeders. A single oyster can filter up to 50 gallons of seawater per day, which means they readily accumulate bacteria, including Vibrio species that thrive in warm coastal waters. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, nearly 90% of all Vibrio vulnificus infections in the U.S. are linked to eating raw oysters. This is not just a mild foodborne illness. In fact, Vibrio vulnificus infections are notorious for their severity. Approximately 1 in 5 patients, 20%, die, often within 24 to 48 hours after the first symptoms appear. Scientific studies highlight how quickly the disease progresses. Once ingested, the bacteria can cause severe gastroenteritis, septicemia, and even necrotizing fasciitis in susceptible individuals. A 2022 study published in Clinical Infectious Diseases reported that people with underlying conditions, such as chronic liver disease or diabetes, have 5 to 10-fold higher risk of developing severe bloodstream infections after consuming contaminated oysters. For adults over 50, whose immune systems naturally weaken with age, the risk becomes even more pronounced. The National Institute on Aging notes that older adults are more vulnerable to foodborne pathogens because of decreased stomach acidity and slower immune response, both of which give bacteria more opportunity to spread. Nutritionally, oysters are often praised for being rich in zinc, iron, and omega-3 fatty acids. However, these benefits are quickly outweighed by the potentially lethal risk of infection if eaten raw. Cooking oysters thoroughly, reaching an internal temperature of at least 145 dFdf 63 dFc, is proven to destroy Vibrio bacteria, yet many Americans still consume them raw, especially in coastal restaurants and seafood bars. For seniors over 50, the warning cannot be overstated. What may seem like a delicacy could turn into a medical emergency. The American Heart Association already recommends limiting raw shellfish intake in high-risk groups, emphasizing that the consequences of infection can include septic shock, multi-organ failure, and even death. In practical terms, this means that older adults, particularly those with diabetes, liver problems, or weakened immunity, should avoid raw oysters altogether. Choosing cooked alternatives provides the same nutritional value without exposing the body to this life-threatening hazard. In summary, while raw seafood may seem fresh and tempting, it can also carry hidden dangers. Especially for seniors over 50, from fish and shrimp to scallops and oysters, each comes with unique risks that can quietly threaten your health. The good news is that cooking seafood thoroughly not only preserves its rich nutrition, but also protects you from life-threatening infections. Stay safe, eat smart, and remember, healthy choices today mean a stronger, longer life tomorrow.